Today I'm in a tropical rainforest, and I'm on this really long path in search of things to flip like this, which under this one had a millipede, and I'll be flipping exactly 24 more things to find some cool and interesting creatures. But before I start this video, I'd like to make it clear that I'm not just going to be flipping rocks, I'm pretty much just going to be flipping anything that's flippable. And make sure to stick around to the end because it will soon get a whole lot crazier. And on object number 2, there was a bunch of ants. And I couldn't get a good glimpse because they started crawling onto my hand, so I had to put the log back. But these are actually trap jaw ants. And they're really cool because they just snap their jaws shut. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I then came across this frog, which I unfortunately didn't know the name of, but it could have been this cool species that basically lays its eggs under leaves, and then they just hatch right into frogs, completely skipping the tadpole stage, which is really cool. Then along the path, I came across this cool looking red insect, which if you take a closer look, is actually a velvet ant. And even though they have ant in the name, they're actually a species of wingless wasp, and while not deadly, you definitely don't want to get stung by them because they hurt a lot. Then for object number 3, it kind of just started breaking apart, but that's because there's these things called termites, which eat the wood if you didn't already know. And after a bit longer, I came across this really cool looking tree. I unfortunately don't know the name, so if there's any tree experts watching this video, please tell me in the comments. And there was also this lizard on the tree, but apparently he had better places to be. And next to the tree were these leafcutter ants. I then made my way over to this creek area, and right by it was this long, creepy centipede creature. Still pretty cool though, but kind of moves like a snake almost, which I actually did see, but unfortunately it slithered away too quickly. I couldn't get a good video of it. Then objects 4, 5, and 6 just had some worms, so I continued on the path where I came across object number 7, which had some beetle larvae. I'm not too sure what they're going to turn into, but hopefully it's some cool giant beetle or something. And then on object number 8, this is where I got pretty cool. There's actually a baby tarantula, which is really fascinating, and actually if you look closely you can see a second one, and also the molt of the baby tarantula. That's really fascinating. Sorry I disturbed your home. I then continued walking where I flipped object number 9, which literally had nothing, but I did see lots and lots and lots of leafcutter ants. And then I made my way down to this river area where I saw an iguana. At least I'm pretty sure that's an iguana. And then in the distance there was this thing in the river, but I don't know what it is because it left really quickly. And then I left the area and I came across this millipede on the ground, and I didn't want it to get stepped on and killed, so I got it onto a stick and put it on the tree. So yeah, I hope you have a good life, millipede. Then I went back to the trail and flipped object number 10, which had some more trap jaw ants. And this one even had wings, which is super cool. And then object number 11 had this beetle that ran away very quickly, but I eventually did find it, and yeah, there it is. Then later that night, I went on this short safari tour to look for some animals, and we actually did find some. We first found some wild boars. There they are, pretty cool. Then we went to the swamp area where there was a lot of caimans, and also there were some turtles, but they're hard to see because they weren't shining the flashlight at them. And they even fed them, but I'm not sure what this caiman was doing because he completely missed the food. And even the second time he completely missed it again. Not too sure what bro was doing. And then one of the guides got really close to him. Surprised he's not scared. I'd be pretty scared. That's pretty cool. Later that night, I went to this abandoned area where I flipped object number 12, and under it actually had a gecko. Not too sure the exact species, but he's very cool. Then object number 13 actually had another lizard. I'm not too sure the species again, but it's very cool looking. I then brought out my ultraviolet light flashlight in hopes of finding a scorpion because you might already know they glow under ultraviolet light, but unfortunately, luck was not with me because I found 0. But I did see this wild boar, and I totally didn't get scared by it, okay? I totally didn't leave because of it. And I also saw a bunch of roaches. Then the next day, I went to a different trail this time, and I flipped object number 14, and under it had something really cool. There was 2 centipedes. And then 15 had this like millipede creature and also some like little bug termite things. And then 16 had some more ants. And then 17 had a worm. And then 18 had a wolf spider, I think that's a wolf spider. And then 19 had a frog. I then continued my journey through the rainforest where I flipped object 20, and it didn't have anything under it, but it had a harvestman right by it, which is actually not a spider even though it looks like one. And then object 20 had another beetle larva, and I also found a massive leafcutter ant colony. And then object 21 had a worm. And then object 22 had nothing, same with 23 and 24. But on object 25, you might not see anything at first, but if I zoom in here, you'll be able to see it. This is a tailless whip scorpion.